Oh my goodness.
Hopefully the whoa. There we go. Mr. Camera Junkie.
Camera Junkie, what's
New,
up? And everyone who's
look at
coming
all
over
these
from the
people.
stream, I am so sorry. So sorry for that hiccup. But, and I almost just shared publicly just shared the eCam link. Which
We would have had a lot of people in the show. That would have been bonkers.
Really interesting. Oh my gosh.
B Pepper, what do you what volume is crazy?
Oh yeah, is everything okay? I feel like I look super pink next to you. Or like warm.
Well, you do look warm, but that's my problem, not yours. But I have a question for you. Do I sound loud? Do I sound loud to you? I don't know if everything.
You sound fine to me. All
yeah.
right. Whew, I just posted the link on the channel.
Oof.
Unbelievable.
Still looking at that. Well, welcome everybody. This is a strange Cameron Flass time, by the way. We won't get into that, but here we are, and we're hanging out.
Here we are.
And a lot of, for me, not for Caleb, but a lot of new people in here. You're probably thinking, what the hell am I doing over here? This is weird. But you're here, and we're happy to have you. At least you recognize one of the two people here. Yes, very much so.
Okay, so the chat up.
We may have one other person showing up who's our other partner in crime, Mr. Ben Barden. But while we are waiting for him, hello, Caleb. Good to see you again. It's been a while. And
likewise.
Why don't we start by pouring a quick drink, which is what we do here at Cameron Flask. You can have a leaded or unleaded drink. And then after that, maybe you can jump in and answer some additional questions from your live stream. Does that sound like a good idea? Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, we could just go straight into a Q&A. I love how there's like which one is Caleb comments, or Caleb, can you introduce Caleb?
The younger one.
Okay, let me put that over there.
That's so cool. You do live shows with your dad. Live shows with your dad. That's so messed up.
Who said that?
That was Jordan Smock.
Jordan.
That's a good one.
That's fantastic.
We can't all be lava.
What are you drinking?
So,
by the way, that my AC's broken. So if you see me just like,
oh, that's horrible. I'm just gonna have. I wasn't actually planning on having this, but and I'm drinking it out of like a wine. Picnic thing, but I'm having Auchentoshan single malt. It was just what I grabbed quickly, so I'm just going to do a little bit of this. And son, what are you having today?
Don't say that ever again.
Boy, what are you having?
Well, it's beer today.
Ooh, it's been a while. You haven't had a beer in a long time.
Out of here. I know. Well, I wasn't going to, so we are going Rocktown Brown from Prairie Street Brewing Company out of Rockford, Illinois. So this stuff, nice and cold. I'm a whiskey guy, but we'll go ahead and crack this open. Last week,
you have no AC.
My wife went on a trip, and I left my wallet in her car, which meant I couldn't restock on stuff for the show. So here we are with a beer that I got just...
And an empty bank account.
45 minutes ago. Yeah,
beautiful.
Exactly. How about you? Oh, we already covered yours. Man, that's so weird. Ben's probably going to come in
cheers.
here. Yeah, cheers.
Cheers.
And everyone in the chat, cheers. Thanks for hanging out with us. Welcome.
Just so you know, Caleb, it's not all set up, but I have the XH2S here. And I do have AF on. So we'll see if we see some micro jitters or anything like that.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely better than the XT3, XT4, but I don't know.
How are you liking it so far?
I like the camera. Come on, Cassie, be honest. So, yeah, I think I like it. And I don't say that in a weird way. I just mean I haven't used it enough to really pass full judgment. There's so many things that are similar to the XT3 and XT4.
Sure.
But there's definitely things that are different. And I just got the fast cards in. I don't know if you saw about a week and a half ago, B&H had a sale on the Delkin cards. Like the 512s, the highest speed ones were $169. And I was like, I'm going to pick up two of those. I missed that. Huge sale. So, but what is 360 grad? Watch yourself, kid. You got to always watch the 360 grad. So I have the camera. I'm going to be shooting stuff with it quite a bit over the next couple of weeks, and I'm excited about that. And yeah, a lot of other things to talk about that have been coming into the space, and I've been saying it. Yeah, tell me.
I'm going to interrupt you for a second. I see there's 87 people watching. If you're unfamiliar with this channel, you should subscribe because we do this once a month on a Wednesday, usually the first Wednesday of every month, not this week. And Jem, if people are interested in Fuji stuff and really anything video production, Jem you started like a series, right? On the camera? Or I saw there was like, one of however many.
Yeah, I'm going to do it.
On the
but
camera.
I think what I'm going to do is integrate it more into the studio space. So I think a lot of what I'm going to do is take this space, and then I have all of these different setups here that I'm now starting to do. And I'm going to start to break it down into more behind the scenes of using all of these tools together. So I have the XH2S, I have the new Xebo slider and pan tilt head, and a bunch of other stuff that I just got the Smoke Genie system in for like that little handheld hazer fogger. And I'm going to start to do some tabletop stuff. And yeah, so every Wednesday here on the channel, I'll be doing something. So next week, there won't be Cameron Flask, but there'll be something else. And yeah, if you're into production, lighting, camera, anything like that, then we do that here.
Yeah,
I've been doing it for a couple of minutes.
And which will probably show up in, I don't know, 20 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know what. Yeah, exactly. I did send him something over Messenger, and he hasn't. 2 notifications. What did he say? Crap, sorry, with you in 2. So we'll see him in 10. Nice. He's on his way.
Boom. Man, it's good to see everyone. Somebody dropped a question on my stream with a super chat. Okay. And I already forgot who was fantastic enough to do that. But there are a lot of questions in here. Do you just want to kind of jump in, or what do you want to do?
Yeah. Why don't you start with some questions, and then we'll take it from there. And we just have to make sure we talk about
right.
We have to talk about the challenge. Yes.
Right.
The September 7th challenge. But yeah. Yep. Go for it.
I don't even know where to hop in here. Doing videography as a hobby, currently using A6500. Would you recommend the A7 IV or invest in FX3 A7S3 for a full frame upgrade? It's going to come down to the kind of the sensor, right? Because a lot of people are like A7S is the best, but as you know, Jem, these newer cameras with their higher resolution sensors, it makes a big difference having that oversampling, and the A7S does not have that. So if you're going to do any kind of punch-ins, it gets pretty dicey pretty quick. So I personally prefer the A7 IV for that reason. But the second you start to pan quickly, it starts to go south because it's the rolling shutter is pretty gnarly. How's that on? That's totally not an issue on this.
Not so far. No,
H2S, right?
The XH2S seems to have great rolling shutter. Does have oversampling, but it's a 6.2K sensor, so it's not like 8.
Sure,
but that's pretty good. So much time that I have to spend with it, but so far so good. I don't think that the AF is as strong as I hoped it would be. I think it's fantastic for stills, but for video, it's still not. Canon and Sony are holding the torch on that right now. And here comes Mr. Ben Barden. So here we go. Let's see what happens. Here he is, Miss America. Well, he's not Miss America. Guest is in the green room. I don't see Ben. It says he's muted. He's sitting back. He's relaxing. We're going to assign him to...
That's a great point, James. Or can still use APS-C mode. That's a fantastic point. The A7S, you can only do that in HD. Hey! How's it going there, info guy?
Hey, we see your menus.
59.
We see menus.
I managed to shift you by a week, and then I forget the 30-minute thing. So you went way out of your way to accommodate me, and then I still screwed you all. So
everybody's apologizing today. It's all right, but we see your menus from your cameras.
I know. Just give me 2 seconds. I'm gonna stay on audio and just sort that out.
And don't worry about it, Ben. I completely forgot. It was in the middle of a stream on my channel, and just had to completely just bail, and I completely failed to remember that we moved it by 30 minutes.
Yeah, but you're still there before me, so therefore
I was standing here streaming, so I literally just shut my stream down. I hopped on his. I didn't have to.
You could have just blown me off or something, and your audio's a little funky, but we'll figure it out. Okay, good. Check 1 2. Check 1 2. Good. So
Three's a crowd, yes sir, Rick.
All right.
Got fellow filmmaker in here. Good to see you.
Rick's always got the salty comments. He comes in, and then 360 Grad's got the ones that maybe and Small Brown Fox we can't publish, but they do anyway.
Brandon, good to see you, dude.
Yeah. Oh wow, Suicidal Cat. That's quite a handle there.
There you go.
Yeah. Yeah. Good. So. All right, so let's get into some more questions. Man. So yeah, I mean, but then of course the disadvantage to full frame, which has more probably advantages than disadvantages, is the lenses get big, especially when you want to get longer focal lengths and you want to get zooms that cover a wide range. So if you want a 100 to 400 on a full frame camera, it gets pretty beefy in terms of glass. So you can generally get smaller lenses with bigger reach, but then you have the downsides of having that smaller sensor. So pluses and minuses all around.
Definitely.
Let's switch.
I hope the APS-C or Super 35 game gets stronger with all these brands. I've got the Canon R7 especially. In. Very excited.
Oh, you did? Oh,
yeah,
good.
Sony. We gotta get a 10-bit crop sensor from them. Can you imagine? What do you having to drink, by the way? FX3.
Oh yeah,
amazing. What you got there, Ben?
And is that Founders Reserve? Is that what it looks like? Yeah. Okay, Glenn.
That's what that is. Yeah.
Okay.
That was the first one. When I was desperately running around to try and grab a bottle when I got your.
I was the same. Yeah. So no, I agree. Like you're saying, like a little FX3, but with
a baby FX3. They could call it the FX. No, they couldn't call it FX because that's kind of their full frame, right?
Yeah. I guess so.
Maybe they do like FS Mark IIs or 3s for everything. Yeah, that's what they need to do. FS3.
Yeah.
Make it like a mini FX3, but it's a Super 35. And then FS5 Mark III, FS7 Mark III as well, right? They're all Mark IIs now, right?
Yes, they're both. Yeah, both of those cameras
that'd be awesome.
Mark IIs. Yep.
Just bring a new sensor to the game and do the whole copy and paste because I feel like they're killing it right now with the FX line.
Yep. Lighter, I am not using, it's not really a LUT. I'm using a Fuji camera, so I'm using a film simulation, which is kind of a look, it's like a film stock. I'm using the NS film simulation, which I guess is neutral something. I can't remember. Head's mush today. I've been head down kind of setting up stuff in the studio for the last few days and working with this company on this product. This Xevo product. So, it's been fun. So there you go.
Insignificant child. You should just go for it, man. Film in the closet.
Just do it.
I'll let everyone figure out the context of that comment.
Yeah. No, you should. I 100% agree. You've got to start somewhere, and then it's almost the thing that pushes you to just get better really quickly in terms of just figuring it out and improving, and I think that's fine.
Turn it into like a thing, like mentioned in the video, like, this is all I got. Stay tuned to see where I film next.
Yep.
So now that we're all here, how do we want to play this game? Do you want to talk about the film challenge, our next show's challenge for everyone?
I do.
Or do you just want to?
There's not really much to talk about. I mean, I'll do a quick one here because there's some really great questions coming in. But I would say that first and foremost, if you just are on this channel, which you are right now, for the September 7th episode, which is the only other live stream at the moment that is scheduled, though there'll be another one next Wednesday with me. It's called Inspired Frame. It's a camera challenge, and the actual episode breaks down what the guidelines of the challenge are. But ultimately, in a nutshell, it is the following. In previous challenges where we've done frames, we've picked a frame from somewhere like Shot Deck or somewhere else from a feature film and said, let's all use that frame as an inspiration and create our own version of an inspired frame from that. So we, go out there and take a photograph, or it could be video, but generally we just try to have a still frame that represents it. And this time it's a little different. What you're going to do is find a frame that inspires you from a television show or an episodic or television or a feature film, something that is the frame that's your inspiration. You're going to go out and create an image based on that. And then you're going to submit essentially a PDF, 16 by 9 PDF with your name. And then you're going to show as your first image your frame that you created. Then you can talk about the behind the scenes and what you did if you want to. Equipment used, fine. Just, keep it clean, pages, maybe 4 or 5 pages total. And then at the end, you show the actual frame that inspired it. So everybody's going to pick their own. And you have to submit it, before September 7th. There's all the info on the site. And that's it. Yeah.
I still haven't decided.
It's in the description, right?
Yeah, it's all in the description.
Me too. I haven't picked one yet. All in the description, so you can read up on what's up with that. Yeah. But it should be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I'm curious how fringe people will get. I'm going to probably try to stay pretty pop culture to see if we can get some guesses,
I was going to do one. It's so obvious that it's so instant because you're essentially just copying it. And then it's going for the other thing that I was struggling with when looking through it is going for a frame that's from a famous scene within it. Or the other thing that's really tempting to do is to be going like the movie poster and looking at something that's from that, like the kind of the iconic images that then are sort of emblazoned into our brains from seeing those. So it's which way to go with it, which is what I've not decided. There's 2 or 3 that are on the short list. But
if we all had unlimited time, I would work with you guys to like prank everyone and do like all of us do Arrival. the same like the thing and coming out of just to like screw with all those of you guys who have been with us from the beginning, where it's like all we do, we're just an Arrival shot review channel essentially,
and shot with the f7 light from Aperture, everything.
Yep.
The 2 most used things.
Video micro or whatever.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So please check it out, because the way it is really fun is if we have 6 to 20 people who contribute to this. So it takes time, but creatively, the last one we did was a 35 millimeter film challenge, which was a lot of fun. I'd like to do more of those in the future. And, by all means, you use the camera that you want to use. So if you want to use your iPhone to take your inspired frame, use your iPhone. You want to use an Android, smartphone, use that. If you want to use a mirrorless camera, digital cinema camera, a stills 35 millimeter camera, it's all fair game. It's just got to be digitized and included in the PDF. But the thing that's the most interesting is seeing your first frame, the inspired frame, and then sort of the process. Talking about the process. The disadvantage you have as people who are coming into the chat and as part of, the show is that you don't get to talk about that. But if you can put some information in your PDF about your process, that would be great. Even a couple of BTS shots would be fantastic in terms of what your setup was. So
Sweet.
Let's do it. And hopefully we'll get some of the people who are in here for the first time in the challenge as well, which would be fantastic. Creativity and fun.
Whoops.
For sure.
Brandon said it. Arrival or Blade Runner.
Oh, shoot. No,
I can't wait. It'll be really fun. It'll be really fun to see what everyone comes up with.
Looking forward to that one.
Yeah. If you're going to see Blade Runner from the three of us, it's probably going to be me. Let's see.
It definitely won't be from me.
Yeah. Just a quick question from Jordan Smock. Are there ever exceptions to breaking the 180-degree shutter rule? I mean, there's tons of them having to do with look and feel. When you want to get that, we always call the Gladiator or Saving Private Ryan look. But there's actually real practical reasons to change your shutter in real production. One of the biggest ones for me is that, when you start to go too high in your ISO or ISO on your camera system, you start to introduce a lot of noise. And I do what I call cheat the shutter. I used to do it a lot more when I was shooting on smaller chip cameras, half-inch, type camera systems, where you basically will shoot with a 1/24th shutter, so which is a 360-degree shutter, because if you're shooting an interview and the person's not moving around a lot, you gain a whole stop of light when you do that. And so cheating the shutter that way can get you out of a bind, as opposed to on the camera like that going from 0 to 6 dB gain, which is going to introduce a lot of noise on those smaller chip cameras, or basically doubling your ISO. You just open up, your shutter, and you just expose for more light. So that's
for flicker,
I think,
if you've got weird stuff, for sure.
Yeah.
Flicker stuff as well. If you end up with projectors in rooms that are just not, it happens a lot here or Europe, so that you've got your lights at 50 hertz, and then projectors are always set at 60.
Yeah.
But often the light continues to the point where they don't flicker. So you're then ending up, even though we're shooting at 25 frames, then going to 60. There's a whole set of those. Yep. Sometimes a case of just dialing around it and going, okay, there's something where we've got nothing funky going on.
Totally.
Just been doing a big job for a university, or it was a cybersecurity conference. It's really interesting. There was somebody that we filmed from one of the UK government intelligence services that we couldn't film. Were not introduced by name. It was all kind of hidden. We had to turn the cameras down, put stuff over the cameras. Never done that before. Yeah,
it wasn't Boris Johnson. I'll tell you that much.
No.
So the other question, the other thing I was going to mention, and Caleb, I was going to ask you on Panasonic cameras. The X-H2S is the first camera that I'm aware of that Fuji came out with, where you can actually dial shutter in incrementally. So it's like ClearScan. So you can actually dial in very specifically your shutter so that you can get rid of flicker and scan lines.
Well, I think a lot of the other brands, or at least Panasonic, they have like a setting that you can go in and then you can incrementally change.
Yeah, that's.
But it's not like the shutter itself you can change. It's like you set your shutter speed, then you go into a menu. I think Sony has something similar on their newer stuff, where it's like synchro scan or something.
Yeah, okay. Okay.
Where you can do that.
On the mirrorless, though. I mean, digital cinema cameras do it all the time, but it's just...
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Cool.
My favorite thing is on the GH6. There's a lock switch, kind of like on the left of the EVF, and you can set the camera to 180-degree shutter, and then I assigned the lock switch to only lock the shutter. So you flip the lock, boom, you're in 180, changing from all your frame rates, everything's cool, and then when you do need to cheat it, you just unlock it, get in there.
That's great.
Yeah, that's
awesome.
That's really easy.
So you don't accidentally...
Panasonic does it better than anybody when it comes to video assist tools and taking a mirrorless camera and giving people video tools. The R5C has some really nice stuff in it. I think they have a totally separate now video menu that looks like the Cinema EOS cameras, and a lot of the features that you'd find in those cameras. But that's a first for Canon that I'm aware of.
That camera is incredible.
The R5C is ridiculous.
And if you want to get one on a deal, I'm going to be selling mine before too long.
Your R5C?
You're in the wrong place. I want one.
Oh, boom.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let me know.
There you go.
They don't have... Though. Oh, yeah, I'll figure it out. Yeah.
All right.
So I'm not gonna hang on it. It's way too much capital just to be sitting around.
Yeah.
But it's a super cool camera.
Alex, we're not using Streamlabs OBS. We are using Ecamm Live, which is unfortunately for people a Mac only solution, but a great solution, and constantly upping in terms of updates. Those two brothers just work on this product nonstop. Keeps getting better. Last week there was a weird thing where it was doing multiple comments when I was on LinkedIn Live going through Restream. It was really weird. But I don't know. We'll see. But not anymore. I did an update. I don't think it's a problem anymore. All right. Any more questions that we want to do here? There's a lot of chat, so I feel like there's some stuff near the top too. Yeah.
I saw a good one before about, is there anything you wouldn't film for money?
Ooh. Oh, geez.
Yeah.
Somebody find 360 grad and take his keyboard away for a couple minutes.
Yeah, please. Yeah, please. I'm going to get demonetized here. I will say that I have no like horror porn stuff like Saw and things like that. That is not something that attracts me, you know. And I don't know if I'd want to even do that for money. It's just so.
What?
Huh?
So no horror porn. Regular porn's fine, but just not the horror. Is that what?
Depends how desperate. I mean, is the family homeless? I don't know. Probably not. That would also probably be in the category. It's definitely not something I would think about shooting. But you know, I that doesn't really those. Yeah, I don't think so. How about you guys? Anything that you wouldn't shoot for money?
Weddings.
Yeah. Same.
Yeah, same.
There isn't enough money in the world to do weddings. It's just the stress. I have friends that do it and make a lot of money at it, and they are of a clearly different mindset to me. I have done them a couple of times when I first started. Hell on earth. So scary.
Yeah.
Awful.
Well, and how there's not a lot of guys that have done weddings for more than 20 years.
Right.
If you think about like people that you know, I mean, I don't know, maybe you guys know people, but all the guys I know that did weddings, they are either shaking in a corner somewhere in their house right now.
Yeah.
Or, you know, it just, you can't do that forever.
They shifted gears. There's a few people in the market who are, you know, at the high end, and they're not really shooting weddings. They are, but they're shooting mini movies and things like that.
Yeah.
I know we say you know, like on this channel and in general, we don't do religion, politics, you know, those types of things. We don't talk about on this because we're talking about other things. But I would say that the other types of content that I wouldn't do for money are things that I adamantly don't agree with, like fundamentally having to do with my belief systems. So that's where I draw the line. Like, I'm not going to just do it for the sake of, okay, that's a paycheck. If I don't agree with it, I shouldn't be creating content around it unless it's true documentary, which is just a discussion. Yeah.
Agree 100%. There's certain political parties that I wouldn't do stuff for.
Right. But science, religion, politics, it's kind of weird area. Like, if I really believed in one of those areas, I wouldn't necessarily talk about it on the channel because I think you want to be inclusive with everybody, but I would or wouldn't create content around that depending on how I felt about that product or that organization or things like that. So I would definitely... I think
things that you've got a fundamental disagreement with the way they're doing things and certain political parties in the UK at the moment, for example, I wouldn't for any money promote that, I suppose, do anything that's promoting that.
Yeah.
There's kind of, soul's not worth that much.
Yep. Yeah. I kind of have two lists with that. One is the straight up no. Like we talked about, weddings is 100%. I've done 2 ever. And I think one was her friend. So, stills, that's another thing, but like for filming a wedding, there's a lot of things I wouldn't do, but then there's a separate list of I really don't want to, but back when I did, corporate doc style stuff, there were things a category where I was, I didn't have anything against doing it, like religiously or like there wasn't a hard no, but I was going to make them pay through the nose if they were going to hire me. And only one time did it actually go through. And it was, I won't say what it was, but it was a very strange category.
Yeah.
I was like, what? You want me to do what? And then, so I can't remember what the percentage was, but more than 4 times my rate. I think it was like 8x my rate or something insane. And they're like, okay.
No problem.
Part of me was like, dang it. And the other part was like, this is incredible.
This is ridiculous.
Yeah, that was redonkulous. They only happened one time though, but
yeah, that's crazy.
Rick,
it's not what you think. You'll never guess. You'll never guess what it was. None of you would ever guess. So don't get your heads out of the gutter. None of that.
Yeah, no.
But it's something that's just like so fringe.
Right.
Yeah.
So what you mean, Rick, is political videos are your jam, is what you're basically saying.
Yeah, like the one.
There's probably a lot of money in that right now, right? Holy smokes.
Yeah, exactly. Oh God. All right. We're not, Rick.
Take it back. I didn't read the comment.
Hey, 360 grad. I do you have like two handles now here? I don't know what's going on here, but Rick is going to get the entire channel out of here. So, all right, good. So let's move on to some other stuff. Obviously, if you have a real question, put an @the C47 in the chat, and we will be able to hone in on that and answer it. Crazy. So just while we're waiting for a couple of questions, unless there's one that's come up, what have you been working on recently? Have you been making, first of all, Caleb, this shift to different types of content in the way that you want to? And what's kind of going on with you?
A little bit. I've turned down pretty much every review opportunity. I have one left, maybe two.
Mm-hmm.
But I've just kind of been trying to get back to, I think we talked on the phone about it. I want to get more back to like Caleb circa 2018.
Yep.
Because I've built this thing over the years and gotten it very polished and we have processes for everything. I want to go a little more like punk rock with it. Just, get in there, make videos, have a good time, still do the things that I, still not be an idiot, like backup footage and all that, but less like, corporate. It's the channel and my process has become very corporate over the years. And kind of get back to like just helping people out, more tutorials. So like last week was the first kind of tutorial based one I've done in a while, more DIYs. So, these 3D printed microphones, which someone asked about. Stuff like that. So more of that. And I think I'm done doing camera guides too. I'm going to switch over to just tutorials. So I'm going to do one on the entire process. So like everything production wise that I do.
Yes.
So
we've talked about
a whole course on pre, pro, post, from a YouTube perspective. And then one on just cameras in general, audio in general, lighting in general, that kind of stuff. So,
How about you, Ben?
Yeah, what are you up to, Ben?
Yeah, where are you heading in terms of the things that you have going on?
It's kind of a lot of a big offshore project at the moment for the Crown Estate. So that's it's essentially the Queen's land agent. So they own the seabed 12 miles out all around. So all the offshore wind farms all are licensed through them. So we're doing a big portfolio of video and stills for that, which is great. That's really interesting, exciting stuff. So there's been a lot of training going up to doing that because you need a lot of certification to do it. And the wind ones are different to the oil and gas ones, even though the principle of it all is the same, but it's all just money for training companies. So yeah, a bit of that, and still a lot in the lakes on these this big estate and hotel that we've been working for, and doing this series of about the characters and all the food that's produced, all within the estate. That's all in their Michelin star restaurant. So that's been really interesting. That's coming to an end now. We've got one last shoot going back to the UK in about 2 weeks' time to do that. So I know it's been this year. I don't know about you guys, but it's been the last 2 years, really. Every work's been just mega busy, and it's now just trying to streamline things and really push the offshore stuff, I think. And it's trying to work out what are those jobs that are there, that are interesting, that are good to do, but that are good value jobs in terms of income, and trying to cut down on the travel a bit because it's got ridiculous this year. It's been way too much time away. As you'll notice, I think this might be the first, or maybe the first one I've actually done at home of these.
Maybe you're in your house right now.
Oh, yeah.
I'm at home.
Wow.
Yes, last week I was on. Last week we had a family holiday. We went to Croatia for a week. This week I'm at home. Next week I'm at home, and then back to the UK for 3 weeks. So yeah, it's
oh, man.
I need to make some sort of fairly drastic changes to that.
I don't miss it.
I don't mind traveling, but not too it's just too much time. I don't mind being away for a week. 10 days is fine, but 3 weeks, like every 3 weeks, I kind of get 3 weeks at home, 3 weeks away. That's kind of how it's been, and it's wearing very thin.
Yeah, no, I might go out east and do some training for a company in the near future, but I'm definitely happy not to be traveling at the quantity I was before. Big production for sure. If there's a project that's a week or 2 weeks long, I'm absolutely down for getting on the road and doing that. But getting on an airplane 2-3 times a month, I'm happy not to be doing that anymore.
See, I'm not even doing that anymore. I'm driving all the time.
I know you are. It's crazy.
Which is
crazy.
Because flying at the moment, I don't know if it's what it's like in the States, but in Europe right now, there's no one's got any staff. So the airlines are cancelling flights left, right, and centre.
Happening,
so you book a flight
here. Yeah.
And your bags aren't getting there. So your bags that are going to be full of your kit that you need to do the job that you're going to do aren't turning up. And it's not, 1-2% of the time. It's a really significant number of bags that are going missing. So you just can't. So you've got to do the driving, which adds a couple of days on each end.
And you're fried. You arrive and you're just fried, and you have to turn around and work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Normally I have a buffer day. Next week I get to sleep on the ship going over, but I'm going straight off the boat, straight to the job. Same day into it. So it is kind of brutal. But yeah, I'm very grateful to have the work, and the work's been really good. It's all been really nice jobs, and stuff's good. It's just a case of trying to work it around to fit around your family life a little bit better.
Yeah. Of course.
You know what it's like. You're always scared of turning stuff down. It's the curse of being self-employed, isn't it?
Well, it's gotten really quiet for me right now. And, I can see it picking up, but I had a 2-year run. That's why I'm spending so much time on this new product. And I'm doing a bunch of stuff here in the barn, finally, in the studio space. And I'm setting it all up for kind of like very different from what you're doing, Kayla, but I want to do more education-based stuff out of here, but I'm trying to do it in a live stream format as opposed to shooting all the content and then going in and post and editing it. But the way I'm thinking about doing it is, maybe it's 45 minutes or a half an hour, and then there's a Q&A at the end, so that on replay, I don't necessarily, that can be at the end of the thing.
Right.
So I'm not constantly coming back to the chat to answer questions in real time. So it's more, okay, here's a class and I'm teaching something for 30 minutes. And then at the end, I can do a Q&A, and then I can just mark it, time code wise, and then just say at 30, that's when Q&A happens. And if people want to, bail at that point, then they don't have to stick around. So I don't know. I'm trying to figure it all out.
So there are some really fantastic questions.
Yeah, I was going to ask you.
Actually, there's 3 questions I see here that are great, and I think each of us have a specialty in.
Okay.
So
you're in charge.
I'll take
Throw 'em
one.
out. Yep.
Just because each of them, I immediately thought of one of you, right?
Okay.
So there's one here. Maybe this is Owens DK. So maybe a rookie question: does your lamp color temp have to match the camera color temp when recording? Or do you set the camera according to the environment and the lamp temp to whatever? I think what you mean by lamp is a light in the space.
Right.
And it can be anything you want. In general, your key light, you want to kind of match that, right? And then I love throwing off lights like in the background. You can see behind me. My wife doesn't like it, but I'm a big fan of like warm accent lights and having that cool, warm action. I find that like a background light, like you can see that circle of light behind me, I usually have that match the key because it looks weird when it's warm to me personally. But it can be whatever you want. But in general, you want to match. But you can totally throw things off or do split the difference. Maybe you have warm lights behind, or a lot of guys, they'll like have a mixture of daylight and tungsten color temperatures and then shoot at 4,000 Kelvin just to get that like cool warm thing. So, I mean, you guys are more than welcome to add to that. But there's another one I thought of, Gem.
Yeah.
So DJ Sucker DJ Sucker.
The 40 mil question.
Is that different from DJ? Is that DJ Sucker? Oh, Tash. Do you change your tag?
No. He's
your
always
name?
been DJ Sucker Tash. DJ Sucker Tash.
I thought it was a Sucker Trash. Wow.
No,
anyway, he's got a 40 millimeter question. I thought.
Yeah, I saw that. The Voigtlander.
Captain 40.
Yeah. Captain 40.
What do you think?
Very quickly on the lighting, I will say that the main thing that I always tell people is whatever you're going to do in the environment lighting wise, whether you're matching it, you're messing around with mixed color temperatures, when it comes to your subject matter, whether that's a person or an object, generally stick to a color temperature for that. So it doesn't generally bode well to put daylight on the key side and fill with a little bit of, warmer light or vice versa, unless it's like a little kick. It's like if you're shooting with tungsten light on the person, there's warm light coming in and there's a slightly cooler kick in the background, maybe that's okay. But just try to keep your subject matter in a sort of color temperature and then start to experiment. Because if you're using warmer light for talent, let's say tungsten 3200, maybe going cooler in the background is a nice contrast, or doing what Caleb is doing. You might shoot, color white balance to a daylight for subject and like the glow, and then start messing with some warmer lights. And there's trends too, and you'll change your tastes over time. But very quickly, DJ Succotash, I'm a sucker for a 40 field of view on a full frame camera. That's about a 27 millimeter on a crop sensor. I love that focal length or that field of view. It just sits well with me. I don't know if you should pine over it, but Voigtlander makes some beautiful lenses. I mean, their factory in Japan is at least a percentage of the Zeiss lenses are made in that factory. I don't know if all of them are, and they make some great stuff. And they tend to be, I don't know about the Ultron, but one of the things that I like about my little Voigtlanders is they tend to be a little bit warmer, like Canon lenses, than Zeiss. And I love Zeiss lenses, but Zeiss lenses tend to be a little more clinical. They're a little cooler. Except for obviously they have some cine lenses that have a lot of character. But that's how Zeiss designs their lenses, to all match each other so that they all can work well together. But I would check it out. Go for it, especially if you're full frame. A 40, beautiful. All right, what's Ben's question that you think of, Caleb?
CN7N says, recently picked up an R5C and have a small batch of RF lenses. Any thoughts on whether or not I should be investing in EF class? And of course, man, Captain Cannon over here. What are your thoughts on that whole thing?
So there's big positives for both paths there, depending on what you're doing. So the big advantage of the EF glass, as far as I'm concerned, over the RF news nose and an RF mount, is that you can use the ND adapter, and that is such an enormous, whether that's Canon's or someone else's, having that on the adapter and being able to control your exposure, that is just it's so unbelievably efficient if you're running and gunning. That's if you're in a more controlled stuff and you've got more time and you're switching lenses out and you can be putting ND on the front, then I would say the RF lenses are better, particularly with that particular camera, because it doesn't have the in-body stabilization, and using the in-lens stabilization that the vast majority of the RF lenses, not all of them, but it's most of them, and they're obviously designed to work together in perfect synergy, whereas the EF lenses, there's a much smaller number of those that have stabilization in the lenses. So for me right now, I'm still on EF, using them on RF bodies, just because of that adapter. That is the main reason. Obviously they're expensive as well. The EF stuff's generally a little bit cheaper, but it depends entirely on your circumstances. But there's a big plus for both of them, depending on what you're doing.
Can I ask both of you a question? Have either of you used the HNY, which is handy? It's a...
Yeah, I have it.
You have it. It's the thing that lets you change basically the you can put filters on different thread sizes on the front of your lens. Do you like it?
Yes.
And is the ND, do you have the variable ND? Is it pretty neutral overall? Because every ND will cast a little.
I just use the adapter, so that you can buy it with their Vari ND, or you can buy it just as a straight thing. So you put an 82, it's got an 82mm thread on the front. So you put an 82mm Vari ND on, and then you can put that on more or less anything from a, I don't know, 55 to 82. And it's like a spring-loaded thing. You pull it in, and then it expands once you let go of it, and then you just do that last little tightening up. It's good, but it's things like the other thing with the other disadvantage of using ND on the front. So when you're getting really nice flaring, if that's your thing on a rounded lens, front lens element, that gives a very pleasing bit of flare. Now, when it's on a very flat filter, it looks horrible. So that's also a big consideration, because if and again, you're then not able to use a lens hood with it either. So then you needing to
totally
mitigate the stuff with that, which is why that in adapter ND is just such a godsend for me. And if there was any way of having that built into the back of lenses somehow, like a lot of lenses have the little slot that you can put gels in. If there was some way of somebody doing something like that and building them into lenses, it would be incredible. Because I'd prefer to use RF lenses, I think, at this point.
Yeah,
but I won't, just because of the convenience of that adapter. So,
so for those who like me who didn't know what that was, this is what it is essentially. You just stick it on the lens and twist and go,
and it'll fit onto your filter thread size. So it's a variable ring, basically, without having to have step up rings, step down rings.
It's great.
Super cool.
It's super cool.
All right,
it's very good.
Cool. So a couple of questions before we go to Chris's for you, Caleb, because it's a GH5S question that's been asked a couple of times. Why do you think camera manufacturers have not created a sensor flange distance combo that, without having Sony's, variable electronic ND system, but why haven't they just built that like filter drop in behind the lens into their overall design for the camera, and take into consideration they're getting a new lens mount, but it includes some sort of, even if it's just a mechanical, real ND. Is there any, because it is a huge advantage to have it behind the lens,
massive,
as opposed to in front. Do you think do you think we're going to see, we're not that far off when I look at the FX3 and I look at the R5C, we're not that far off from having a mirrorless camera that's not quite as big as a C70 from Canon, but it's getting close enough where they could probably make it just slightly bigger and integrate an ND system. Do you think we'll see it in that space, or do you think it's still going to be reserved for that, digital cinema camera space? Any feelings? All right.
Well,
we'll see.
I'll say this. Electronic ND.
Yeah.
Sure. There's a company that has nothing to lose. I won't say who, but they have nothing to lose by putting this feature that you're talking about in their cameras. They wouldn't cannibalize anything. And when I point blank asked them, they said, we know everyone's screaming for this, but there's a reason that no one else is doing it yet. Or that there's not even you would think by now there'd be a bunch of people doing adapters, that there'd be 5 different variable ND or electronic ND adapters by now. But there's a reason. That's all he would go into, is there's a reason that no one else is doing it yet. And we're every single one of our companies is looking at it. And again, they have nothing to lose by putting it in. They're not cannibalizing any, line of cameras. But that's.
Do you think there's well, I can think of one company who could do that. Do you think there's anything to having the sensor block be able to move backwards and forth? I mean, obviously, the further back it is or the closer it is, it has something to do with the optics of that image hitting it as well. But do you think there's that ability so that it would actually have variable flange distances? I mean, it's crazy. I never thought about it, but
that is a really interesting idea.
Like the idea that the sensor block moves forward or backwards, increment very slightly, but can actually make adjustments for then being able to, I don't know. I'm going off.
If you could pull a new camera out of your bottom with the new company overnight, that would be a really interesting idea. Is like red style mounts that you can interchange, and then the sensor can move forward and back and lock in place. So you can PL today, RF tomorrow.
Yeah.
Super interesting.
Be interesting. Okay.
So
Chris, this is definitely a you question. And let's just do a brief answer. But is the GH5S still worth getting? Looking for a tripod angle for filming weddings, using the S1H and S1. Had the S5 but didn't like record limits. Thanks, Caleb.
Right. I still have one for that exact reason. It's my third camera for the guides I film to film the back of another camera. They're for $700 used on eBay. To have a log 10-bit camera that records indefinitely with a stabilized sensor, why not?
Yep. 360 grad. I don't think it's Aperture that came out with the electronic ND system. Wasn't it Red Rock Micro?
It was Aperture.
Oh, it was Aperture?
Yeah.
They both had it.
Definitely had one.
And Aperture sold it to somebody.
Reviews.
I wasn't told. I didn't find out who, but it was sold.
Oh.
Right.
Is my understanding. Is that product or that tech was sold to who? I don't know, because it just kind of vanished into the night.
It's quite a while ago, and it was, if I remember rightly, did it have like an external controller on it?
Yes, it was pretty
you could
gacky.
Use an external.
It got pretty. I remember it now. Actually, I remember Ted showing it to me.
The second version was much better.
Yeah, but it was still a lot of.
It was
clunky,
but for what it was pretty amazing. I think it was up to 64 ND or some insane. I don't know. It was pretty nuts. It was super cool though, and no one else had anything remotely like it. Had a little Limo connector on the side.
Tilta would be the kind of company that would maybe get into a space like that. Maybe. Yeah. Well, I hope that variable ND that Sony has gets.
It's going to happen
more
someday.
Cameras.
It's just a matter of time, and then I don't know. 5 years from now, every camera has it built in.
That's right.
It makes a lot of sense, even from a stills perspective. If it gets cheap enough, why not?
Yeah. Exactly. Any other questions that we want to get into here? I know you have a hard out in 5 minutes, Caleb. I think you had a straight out at a half hour. That's why we started half an hour.
That's why we're doing it early. And this week because of Ben, so it's like all the things in one show. It's perfect.
Yes, but here we are. So any other questions? Lighter, what are the situations you would prefer to use log? Very simply.
Situations.
Yeah.
All the situations.
Mostly. At studio, not necessarily. I would answer. I mean, I
would answer. I'm never shooting non-log again unless I absolutely have no choice. That's my stance.
There you go.
So not to just completely
there you go.
Slam the door on.
one little button when you put it into your NLE to pull that to a 709 thing. Why would you not do that? Why would you not?
Or to anything you want.
Right.
Yeah.
Or
exactly.
10 years from now.
Yeah. I would say
it's
live.
HDR now.
Live is probably the biggest argument, and that's about it. So live streams or live content, maybe. Yeah.
On that very
note,
though.
Yep.
This camera.
Go into DaVinci Resolve.
Comes out of log is to do this. Is to do this, and then I shot something, and it was the only time I'd forgot because it's always in log. Other than when we've done this. And now when it used to be every week that we were doing this, it was very much in my consciousness to change everything back. And I forgot, and I shot the first hour of that job the next day in just whatever this was.
Your heart sank.
So then I had to grade all the rest of the log footage I shot for that rest of that sequence to match.
That's almost worth buying a LUT box that you can put in line on HDMI.
Oh, that's a great idea. Yeah.
Are they expensive, Caleb?
They're not bad. Well, doesn't your new camera have built-in LUTs where you can specify whether it goes out over HDMI? Then you're done. You can go into Resolve. You can import your log footage.
No. If I was recording, if I was recording 100%.
Export your own custom LUTs, and boom.
Yeah, I mean, basically on the
Ecamm Live, do they do LUTs yet? I haven't checked.
I don't know. But Fuji will let you record to your cards or output log. and then you can basically use a film simulation on the other,
Right.
you know, and that's good. But I don't know.
But
if
Blackmagic
LUTs.
makes a little LUT box where you connect it to your computer with USB, and you can upload .cube, and then
you have
LUTs
LUTs under picture settings for Ecamm Live. There's a select LUT. So
there you go. Boom. Done. You could design your own custom LUT in Resolve.
That's perfect. Now, does that apply to? Can you apply that to individual streams that are coming into Ecamm, or is it?
I don't think so. No, because I don't have a lot of control over that. Like I can do certain things, like I can do these little punch-ins and that kind of stuff. But I can't apply that to basically interviewers or interviewees, guests. We'll say guests. Oh no, you're late, and we're actually ending in 2 minutes, unfortunately. Make sure to remember to check out the September 7th challenge, which is the Inspired Frame Challenge. It's on this channel. It's already posted. If you look under the description, it has all of the guidelines for what the challenge is. And with it already being August 10th, I would start thinking about what you're going to do. And it would be great if people started submitting sometime around the beginning of September. There is a dedicated email address, which is challenge@thec47.com. So if you send it to challenge@thec47.com, it's also in the description. That will go right to me for this particular challenge and any future challenges. And there you go.
Straight to Jem's spam folder, as ever.
Unbelievable.
Next time we're going to all be here.
Yeah.
And Jem's going to be like, what the heck? Only 2 of you sent it.
Good luck with that job, David, by the way.
Spam folder. No, I'm just joking.
Yeah. Good luck with the job, David. David's providing equipment, renting equipment for an upcoming production. So it's on him.
Nice.
Make sure you do basically a standard, what we call a checkout the day before, where you unpack everything, you test it all, and you put it back in there. Got to do that on a production job. You probably know that, but yep. Beautiful. Parting words, gentlemen. Caleb?
Well, it's been a blast having everyone. Sorry, yet not sorry that we all came over early. It was good to have everyone last second, but it was a good show.
Yeah, and thank you for the new people who came in. If you are interested in this type of content and other types of production content, please subscribe to the channel. Appreciate it. And Ben, any last words from you?
I'm sorry I was late, and because this is as fun as always. So I'm gutted I got to I'm lost out on 10 minutes, but wonderful to see you all.
Yes, and September 7th we'll be unveiling all of everybody's challenge entries. It should not just be the 3 of us here that are up on the screen. We need a good showing here, so start working on that. And we'll see everybody next time. Love you guys, and all the best.